know something? It feels like ages ago since I last did a movie wrap-up video, even though it was like 2 weeks ago, and because I've not used my tripod in 2 weeks, I seemingly forgot where I stuck my tripod. But luckily though, just before I hit record, I managed to find where that tripod was. It was in my drawer. Anyway, that's enough talking from me. A few movies to review in this episode of the movie wrap-up, so without further ado, let's get this movie wrap-up started. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 43, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is Mother's Instinct. So the first movie that I had watched this week was Mother's Instinct over on Netflix, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. So I have managed to watch Mother's Instinct, which for those that live in the UK, it is now available to stream on the streaming service Netflix. The movie stars Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway. So what did I think of this movie? Well, I'll be honest, the running time is quite short, clocking in at 1 hour and 34 minutes, but that being said, we know that these two women, Alice and Celine, are neighbours, and they also have this sisterly bond as well. They are married, and they both have sons who also happen to be best friends and the same age. With the running time being so short, it's a shame we didn't see a lot more of the sisterly bond going on really before tragedy strikes, and I won't reveal what the tragic incident is because of spoilers. But what I will say though is this movie has that vibe that this was in the time period set in around the 60s. How could I tell? Well, the clothing that they were wearing, the cars that they were driving, and also the hairstyles all gave this movie that kind of time period that this was set in, like the 60s. While this film is a rather slow burning film, it does for me get more interesting towards the end, especially as one of the women starts to become more and more paranoid. I thought the acting in this movie was great from all the cast members all around. All I wish was that this movie was maybe 20 minutes longer so that we could see the characters more developed and also just have a bit more room for the story to evolve rather than rushing through it. Even if it is a slow burning film, I will also add that the payoff, some people will agree it might be a great payoff that worked, while others may disagree with the payoff to the movie. I did find this one to have a rather divisive ending to the film. For those that live in the UK, Mother's Instinct is now streaming on Netflix, and it is also available to buy and rent on digital platforms. New Life. So the next movie that I watched this week was New Life, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. So despite the fact that this movie was released in the US back in 2023, the movie was released here in the UK back in June 2024. And so I have therefore decided to add this to the list of movies in 2024 over on my Letterboxd account. But that being said though, New Life has just recently been released on streaming service Netflix here in the UK. And did this film breathe any new life into me watching this film? Well, the film is interesting in the fact that they did this on a sort of pandemic level. Not that we all need reminding about the pandemic that we came out of not too long ago, but that being said though, I did find this movie to be well crafted and well paced, given the fact it does have a short running time of just under 1 hour and 30 minutes. I still enjoyed the story. The mysterious woman I was definitely intrigued by, especially as we learned more of her backstory as the movie went on. At first, I really did think to myself, is this woman going to talk or not? Because within the first 10 minutes of the movie, she had no dialogue whatsoever until she came across someone and then started to speak to them. I do like how the film does tell two stories basically and then blends it together to make this movie, which was great, despite the fact that there are no cast members in here who I recognise from any projects that they have done in the past. I still thought the film did well with the supporting cast members in this film. If you live in the UK, New Life is available to stream now over on the streaming service Netflix. Incoming. So Incoming I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd, and Incoming is a movie that has been released on Netflix in the last couple of weeks, and I've got around to watching this. But what did I think of this? I have seen so many people compare this to Superbad, and I must say now that Superbad is one of the comedy movies that I could happily watch on repeat for the rest of my life. It's one of those comedy movies that I would put on for comfort if I'm ever feeling down and need something to cheer me back up again. Superbad is the go-to film for me, but would Incoming be another comfort film I would go back and watch again and again? I don't think so. Yes, there were a few laugh out loud comedic moments in this film that I really did enjoy, but however, I just feel as though this film didn't really bring anything new to the table. We have seen so many high school / college teens in movies where they party the night away, and I feel as though all the cliches from those movies have all happened in this one. I felt as though at times the script was a little clunky, the story was rather weak, and sometimes a little all over the place as well. It didn't really have much structure or formula to keep the movie well balanced, and the movie does have a running time of just slightly over 90 minutes, so this is an ideal movie for those looking for a quick comedy movie to watch over on Netflix. Is this a film that I would recommend people to watch? If you are looking for a new comedy movie to watch, then sure, this is fine to put on, and I'm sure, like myself, you'll get a few laughs out of this film, but just remember that the cliches of a high school / college teen party film that you have seen before are all in this movie as well. But Incoming is now streaming on the streaming service Netflix globally. Rebel Ridge. Next movie I've watched this week is Rebel Ridge, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd, and I'm going to be honest here, I feel as though the first half of Rebel Ridge was great, and probably the strongest I've seen in a Netflix original movie in a while. The second half, however, of the film does lose it a little bit, but nonetheless though, this is definitely a movie that I really did enjoy. I did think to myself as soon as the film opened, is this going to be a movie that I really will enjoy? And it's safe to say that it is a movie that I did enjoy watching. There's some action sequences in here which I thought were really well choreographed. There are some corrupt cops in this movie as well. You have an ex-marine in here as well, and a court clerk who gets herself in way too deep with the situation that the movie deals with. The filmmaking in this movie was also great. The music scoring and soundtrack was brilliant as well. The movie does have a running time of 2 hours and 14 minutes, and the cast in this movie include Aaron Pierre, Don Johnson, Anna Sophia Robb, David Denman, Imori Cohen, Dana Lee, and James Cromwell, who all have great performances in this movie. Is this a movie I would recommend and is worth watching? Definitely, especially if you are into action and into thriller movies as well. I definitely recommend this movie for sure. But Rebel Ridge is available to stream now over on the streaming service Netflix globally. The Union. And the final movie that I have watched this week is The Union, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. So J.K. Simmons, Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry star in this Netflix original movie, which I have watched over on the streaming service Netflix. So what did I think of it? Well, there was moments that I did enjoy in this film and other parts that I didn't. The performances from Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg were great, and I thought they had some great on-screen chemistry together as well. I also thought that J.K. Simmons was great in his role as well. The script / dialogue was also rather decent, and there was some funny moments in this film, especially with the dialogue. Even some lines which I do find are quite quotable now, to be honest. I did feel as though the running time, which the film does clock in at 1 hour and 49 minutes, was a little too long. If they had shortened this down by maybe around about 15 minutes, I would have thought this would have been a good film that didn't outstay its welcome. The film is also shot in multiple locations as well. I feel as though if they had kept it in just one setting, like keeping the story in London and London alone, then this film would have worked fine rather than being in multiple locations around the world. But I guess given the story, it's understandable why they did this in multiple locations around the world. Is this a film I would watch again? I think so, to be honest, especially as it has got some great comedy stuff in it. But is this also a movie I would recommend for people to watch over on Netflix? Yes, especially if you are looking for a film with great dialogue, great chemistry between characters, and some decent action sequences as well. So The Union is now streaming over on the streaming service Netflix globally. All the films that I've watched this past week, by the way, have all been on Netflix. Have you noticed that? Anyway, that is all for this week's episode of the movie wrap up. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and let me know what movies you have been watching this past week, whether it's old, new, in cinemas, or maybe even on streaming services. Regardless, whether it's Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime Video, whatever streaming service, let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. So your next video will be out on Monday the 9th of September at 4 PM UK time. It is the usual weekly vlog for you guys, so I hope you can tune into that. And also a quick reminder that Monday the 9th of September sees Apple doing an Apple event where they'll be announcing their next range of iPhone devices and some other Apple hardware, or getting some upgrades as well. I just want to let you know that I will be going live on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial, at 8 PM UK time, straight after the Apple event has finished, and I will be talking about the new iPhone range and giving you guys the lowdown, the new details on what was announced during the Apple event, etc. as well. Okay, so feel free to tune into that as well. But until then though, it's goodbye, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.